E niente, quindi siamo rimasti folgorati da questa Sunshine Coast e abbiamo deciso di vivere qui assolutamente, senza dubbio alcuno.
Uh-huh. So, e niente. You know the word niente means nothing. It's a very common filler that we use in Italian. E niente, e poi ho fatto questo, and nothing. So then I did that. So it doesn't really translate in English because it doesn't translate to nothing. It's another way of saying, and basically we did that. But because niente means nothing, it's kind of like it's a basically that diminishes the fact that the next thing is basically it's just nothing that big. So in this case, she said that we moved to the Sunshine Coast and we loved it, and and then basically we decided to stay. So it's like a logical consequence of something. So you can use it as a filler at the end of a series of things, and then before the last one, you would say nothing. Like I wish I could say and nothing, but we don't say that in English, do we? And nothing. That's what I did. Well, you get the idea, right? So yeah, we do use it a lot. Senza alcun dubbio means without any doubt. So senza means without, dubbio means doubt, and alcun is one of the Italian ways of saying no, so without any doubt. Senza alcun dubbio. Alcun is short for alcuno, but we're gonna use alcun because it's before a masculine noun, so we drop the e. That's not the main point. The main point is that we do say senza alcun dubbio, or the next one it's the one that I use more, it's senza ombra di dubbio, but that means without a shadow of a doubt, okay? Senza ombra di dubbio, ombra meaning shadow. So it's very similar to English. Ok, e quindi prima hai detto che lavoravate sulle navi da crociera.
Sì.
Lavoro interessante, no? Com'è nata sta cosa di lavorare sulle navi?
Sì, veramente il mio primo amore è stata la danza.
Okay, so you told me, Lisa, that you were working on cruise ships, so that's a really cool thing, it's really interesting. Com'è nata sta cosa di lavorare sulle navi da crociera? Com'è nata? How was it born? Sta cosa, which is colloquial for questa cosa. It's like saying this thing of you guys working on cruise ships. So, a few things here. Once again, the order of the sentence. It looks backwards to you because we're putting sta cosa, which means this thing, which is the subject, after the verb, which doesn't make sense. So, but go back to the other segment where I explained this. But com'è nata? How was it born? What? This thing of you guys working. So, that's why the order is like that. Sta cosa, like I said, it's colloquial for questa cosa. You wouldn't write it, but we use it a lot when we're speaking because it's quicker to say sta or sto than it is to say questa and questo. So, no, it doesn't make for good Italian, but it makes for fast Italian. Sto libro. It better said questo libro, but sto libro is quicker. So it's mainly used in the central dialects of Italy, but yeah, I'm sure that it's kind of.
Ho ballato un po' sulle punte, e anche il moderno sulle punte, diciamo questo è stato il mio primo amore artistico. E poi ho avuto un incidente al ginocchio, sempre ballando.
So she said that she did some dancing sulle punte. No, punte means the tips of your feet. So that's how we talk about ballet, or I had to look it up, like point. I don't know, whenever a dancer dances on the tips of their feet. Okay, so that's how we say ballare sulle punte. That means like ballet dancing, pretty much, or danza classica. But so that sulle punte means that thing on the tip, on your toes, pretty much. And then she also did modern dancing on her tips. Any ballerinas out there that can tell me how to say that in proper English? Grazie. Poi ho avuto un incidente al ginocchio. Then I had an accident on my knee. That's literally. But literally it's not really that, because the reason I'm pointing this out, because you probably understood. If you understood that the word incidente in ginocchio, you understood that she hurt her knee. Now, the Italian way of saying this is whenever you hurt something or you have an accident on a body part, we use the a preposition. Un incidente al ginocchio. So it's an accident at my knee, not on or in or whatever other thing you might say in English, but it's a. Un incidente al collo, un incidente al braccio, un problema alla testa. So we use a instead of any other preposition, but that's what happened. She had an accident on her knee. Sempre ballando. Sempre ballando while dancing, meaning still dancing. So I danced a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then I had an accident still dancing. So that kind of still dancing, meaning I was telling you that I was doing some dancing, and while dancing and still dancing, that's how I hurt my knee, okay? So that's kind of sempre ballando. But it is similar to English with like always dancing or while dancing. Even though, careful, Manu, don't confuse your audience. While dancing is not mentre ballando. You never have mentre with a gerund, with the ing version of Italian. Mentre usually takes the imperfetto, mentre ballavo while I was dancing, or mentre ballo while I am dancing. So usually it's those two tenses that go with mentre, not the gerund, not the ando, endo version.
Ho deciso di cominciare a studiare canto e dopo un anno, sì, un anno e mezzo, la mia insegnante mi ha buttato lì nell'arena.
So after that, I decided to start studying singing. So as you can tell from my English, there's a bunch of verbs here that we're trying to express. How does Italian do that? Well, ho deciso di cominciare a studiare canto. Here's the verb decidere, to decide, which in the passato prossimo is ho deciso. Like we discussed in an earlier segment, ho deciso di is the preposition that you use after deciding, not something that we can argue with. Ho deciso di cominciare. Cominciare is the way of saying to start. Now, what's that a? Why a and not di? Same reason. Cominciare, if you look it up and look at the examples, cominciare uses a as the preposition that precedes another verb. So that's how it is. Ho deciso di cominciare a studiare. So yes, we have two infinitives. Because that's how it is. Ho deciso di cominciare a studiare. I decided to start studying. Now in English, you can say I decided to start studying. So to start and studying look like different verbs or different types of verb. Whereas in Italian, we wouldn't do that. We don't use the gerund like we do in English. So we can't say studying like that. So I decided to start to study, basically. Okay. And then her teacher or instructor, she said, mi ha buttato lì nell'arena. Mi ha buttato lì. That's from the verb buttare, which means to throw, literally, to throw things. So mi ha buttato lì, she threw me there in the arena. So you understand what that means. Basically, she was learning how to sing, and then the teacher said, okay, you're ready, go work. That's what happened to Lisa.
Mi ha buttato lì nell'arena, mi ha detto vai, puoi andare.
Dove?
C'era un pianista che cercava una cantante, ho cominciato a cantare in un ristorante lungomare a Pescara.
Uh-huh. So the teacher told her to go and go out there and because you're ready, go. And then Lisa says, ho cominciato a cantare. Again, ho cominciato a cantare, I started to sing. That a is necessary because cominciare wants it. She started to sing in a restaurant with a pianist that would accompany her. We'll learn that later as well. And she says, sul lungomare. Now this lungomare is a very Italian thing. It's a beautiful word that we use. Lungomare means along the sea. If you go to any coastal town in Italy, that's where the main thing is. I mean, that's the attraction of this town, obviously being on the beach. So il lungomare is usually the promenade, the walk. What we call in Australia is the esplanade. So it's the main walking part of town, usually with most restaurants and shops, and it's the place where Italians stroll, go up and down, like I may have mentioned in the past, doing laps. That's what we say, fare le vasche, when people just walk up and down, and usually we do that along the lungomare. So il lungomare di Nettuno, that's the lungomare of my town, il lungomare di. Of course, you can only have it in a seaside town, not along the lake, because obviously it's not called that way.
E niente, da lì poi ho incontrato tramite un'amicizia un pianista più giovane, mio marito.
Da lì poi ho incontrato, da lì. Literally, da lì means from there, but she's using it here metaphorically because she's not talking about a place, she's talking about a time. Still applies. Da lì poi ho incontrato, from there, from that point in my story, I met, blah blah blah, ok? Ho incontrato a younger pianist, my husband, she says, okay? And she met him through a friendship. Remember the word tramite we saw earlier? Tramite un'amicizia. Thanks to a friend, or thanks to a friendship, or through a friend. She could have said tramite un'amica, but I think, yeah, we actually use the word amicizia, friendship, a lot more than we would in English, yeah.
Mio marito.
Infatti,
mio marito.
dicevo, come hai conosciuto Marco?
Sì.
Era il pianista.
Sì,
Okay.
lui cercava una cantante, io cercavo qualcuno che mi accompagnasse.
Non cercavi
anche
il
per
marito?
No, assolutamente.
Ok, so, io cercavo qualcuno che mi accompagnasse. I was looking for somebody who would accompany me. As a dancer, obviously. Or as a singer, sorry. So, this is the usage of the congiuntivo Italian subjunctive. It's a little tricky, but I have a whole episode of Ask Manu Italiano where I discuss the congiuntivo. But here what I'm pointing out is a typical typical example of when the subjunctive would be required in Italian. It's when you have a main clause followed by che and a subordinate clause where the subject is different from the subject of the main clause. Basically, I was looking for somebody who would accompany me. So I was looking for, and then somebody who would accompany me. Okay, that structure is the one that calls for the subjunctive most of the time. If I say, okay, io voglio che voi parliate più piano. I want that you guys speak more slowly. In English, you would say, I want you guys to speak more slowly, but in Italian, it's I want that you guys speak slowly. So, io voglio, the subject of the sentence is I, io voglio che, I want that. Voi parliate, that you speak. I have to use the subjunctive there because of the structure. Main clause, one subject, che, and subordinate clause with a different subject. The verb of the subordinate is often in the subjunctive because of the structure. It's a tricky thing. And then I said, okay, and so he was looking for a singer, I was looking for a pianist, and then I said, oh, you were looking for a husband, right? And then she says, no, assolutamente. Here's something peculiar, because in English we can say absolutely, or we tend to say absolutely, usually when it means yes. Oh, are you coming? Absolutely. So it's usually a yes. It's an absolutely yes. In Italian, assolutamente is usually an assolutamente no. So it's the opposite of English, even though it's the same word. And of course, I could say assolutamente sì, absolutely yes. But I would have to say the word sì. If I don't, usually assolutamente is said in a negative way. Oh, would you do that? Would you do such and such thing? Oh, assolutamente. Oh, absolutely not. That's what it means. So we tend to not say the not, but if it's a yes, then we have to say the sì. Ragazzi, per non perdere nessuna lezione di italiano, attivate le notifiche. Si fa così. Prima vi iscrivete al canale, poi fate clic sulla campana vicino al bottone rosso e selezionate quest'opzione. Salvate e via! Facile, no?